For years, people have whispered about the Jesuits, the so-called soldiers of Loyola. Founded in the 1500s, the Jesuit order was literally created as the spearhead of the Counter-Reformation, a militant force sworn to infiltrate, to educate, to sit in pulpits and in palaces, even in the strongholds of their enemies. And here's what their oath says, not my words, but theirs. I do further promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless war secretly or openly against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals, and that I will hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate forever their execrable race.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.
That's the kind of ruthless infiltration mindset that they were trained under. Now, when I first asked about the Jesuit connection to the CIA, my so-called ChatGPT neutral source good old friend C3PO here tried to downplay everything. Oh, well, they just happen to go to Jesuit schools. They're prestigious universities. Yeah, right. That's the same excuse you hear every time someone catches a pattern that isn't supposed to be noticed.
These Iranian bloodlines, the Jesuits completely took over. They operate through the Jesuits. And the Jesuits took over the CIA in about 2002. And the CIA, the purpose of the CIA primarily is to do assassinations. It has nothing to do with benefiting the American people. It's for benefiting these global ruling elite. The Bushes, the Clintons, these other presidential families are all servants. They're Zionist facilitators for this hidden international global cabal. And other members of these bloodlines are Castro and Leon Panetta, the Shah of Iran. The Shah of Iran is from the Pahlavi family. And in Italy, it's the Pallavicini family or bloodline. And Chi means the stock or the bloodline. So they're the ones running the world. And probably Kate Middleton, who married Prince William, I believe she has ancient Iranian bloodline as well in her family history.
But when I dug deeper, I found the truth. From the late 1990s all the way into the 2010s, the CIA was run almost continuously by Jesuit-trained directors. That's not speculation, that's fact. Let me show you. Here's the Jesuit chain of command in the 2000s, starting with George Tenet, 97 to 2004, Georgetown University, Jesuit school. He's the man in charge during 9/11.
Valuable information and has helped disrupt terrorist plots, including strikes within the United States. For example, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed described the design of planned attacks on buildings inside the U.S. and how operatives were directed to carry them out. That is valuable information for those of us who have the responsibility to protect the American people. He told us the operatives had been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping. To ensure that the explosives went off a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping.
The so-called intelligence failure that reshaped the entire world was Jesuit-trained. Leon Panetta, 2009 to 11, Santa Clara University, Jesuit school. He's the director during the drone war escalation and the Bin Laden raid. Jesuit trained. John Brennan, 2013 to 17, Fordham University, Jesuit school. Obama's top spy chief during the Arab Spring, Syria and the rise of ISIS, Jesuit trained. Even in the gaps when Petraeus or Haspel held the chair, the deputy director, Michael Morrell, another Georgetown Jesuit, stepped in as acting CIA director multiple times. The pipeline never stopped. That's nearly 2 decades of uninterrupted Jesuit presence at the top of CIA. Major events under CIA would include 9/11 and the War on Terror, Tenet, Georgetown Jesuit, the invasion of Iraq, 2003, WMD claims pushed by Tenet's CIA, drone warfare and Bin Laden raid, 2011, Panetta, Santa Clara Jesuit, Arab Spring, Libya rise of ISIS, 2013 to 2017, Brennan, Fordham Jesuit. Every major reshaping of the 21st century world order happened with a Jesuit-trained hand on the wheel. And here's the kicker. Jesuits have always been known as masters of infiltration, disguise, and control.
Author J.E.C. Shepard writes that between 1555 and 1931, the Society of Jesus was expelled from at least 83 countries, city-states, and cities for engaging in political intrigue and subversive plots. President John Adams, in a letter to Thomas Jefferson, once wrote, "I do not like the resurrection of the Jesuits. Shall we not have regular swarms of them here, in as many disguises as only a king of the gypsies can assume? If ever there was a body of men who merited eternal damnation on earth and in hell, it is this society of Loyolas." We see the assassination of Abraham Lincoln on the front cover because it was claimed by 19th century Catholic priest Father Charles Chiniquy that the Jesuits were responsible for the killing of Lincoln. Chiniquy details this in his own book titled 50 Years in the Church of Rome. Lincoln himself had said, "It is not against the Americans of the South alone I am fighting. It is more against the Pope of Rome, his perfidious Jesuits, and their blind and bloodthirsty slaves that we have to defend ourselves."
That's not conspiracy theory, that's history. So when the most powerful intelligence agency on the planet ends up dominated by their alumni, you can call it coincidence if you want. But the record shows otherwise. This is the CIA and Jesuit connection. And it doesn't stop here. This rabbit hole goes deep, way deeper than I can take you in one video. But to close, there's nothing new under the sun. If you pay attention, you can see the patterns. The devil always leaves fingerprints. He's bold enough to do it in plain sight, and he laughs while people stay blind. That's why I say the devil slaps the world with his dick of lies, and people thank him for it, thinking it's truth. If you don't like being violated like that, well, then wake up! Start paying attention, because the devil really is in the details. And if you enjoy eye-opening content, don't forget to like, follow, and share. But until next time, the Faceless Prophet out.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.